start with the Tigers on the hardwood. Final score last night, 76-68. LSU goes to College Station, Reed Arena, and gets a win. They were up 20 at the half. They gave it almost all back in the first 9 minutes of the second half, but finished the game out and got a win. As Will Wade said after the game, that's the most important thing, is to win the game. Your thoughts as you watched it for 40 minutes?
Yeah, it's finally what we've been asking for with this basketball team, and getting out to a good start, getting yourself a nice lead that you can kind of play and let the other team kind of fight for their lives and drag and pull and try to get themselves back in the basketball game. And to me, we've talked about it time and time again on this show, but the addition of Xavier Pinson back into that lineup, he's starting to get healthy. You can see him really start becoming his old self. He had a high pick and roll and got all the way to the basket and laid it in. And I was like, okay, this is Xavier I'm used to seeing, and he's just getting into the paint, dishing it off to bigs. He got effed in some easy looks instead of effed in, working his life away to try to, score in the paint. He's getting easy dump off passes and dunking it home, which is, what he did for that lineup. And I think Coach Wade said it after the game. When you start that lineup, they're 15-1 this season. Now you can bring Tari Eason off the bench, who was a godsend in that game. He was just unstoppable, just attacking the paint, forcing people to foul him. And that's the LSU basketball team we're used to seeing. I think continuing that rotation, try to build some momentum off of this. This is something you can definitely work towards and really get yourself out of this funk that you've been in.
Yeah, I mean, X looked much better last night than he did a week ago. He just wasn't ready to play. There's no burst. There was no explosion. He couldn't go side to side. He was just gimpy and couldn't really help. And last night he certainly did. Interestingly, the box score wouldn't indicate that. I mean, he had 6 turnovers and he was -4 in his 25 minutes. But you could tell that he certainly did help. This is a tired, boring cliche, but it certainly applies to last night. It was a tale of two halves. LSU came out in the first half and really was excellent on both ends of the floor, and that's how you build a 20-point lead. You, in the first half, offensively shot it at 54% from the floor. You made 7 of your 10 threes. You had 3 guys on the roster that were perfect with multiple three-point attempts. They didn't shoot it as well from the 2, 6 of 14, missed a lot of shots around the rim early. But when they're making their shots, as it goes with any basketball team, but certainly one is good on defense when LSU's right as they are, you're very tough to beat, especially when you're playing an A&M team that's limited offensively. I thought the best metric for the offense in the first half was the fact that they made 13 baskets and assisted on 9 of them. They don't have necessarily enough guys on this team, really any, that you can point to that can routinely get their shot. So when LSU's going to create good looks, they're going to have to do it as a team, and they're going to have to assist in that. And what you do when you're assisting those scores is you're getting into a flow, you're beating someone off the dribble, you're making a good decision, and you're making a shot. And that's what LSU was able to do in the first half. On the other end, they forced 10 turnovers from A&M in the first half. They held A&M to 21% shooting from the half, and they were just 1 of 9 from 3 in the first half. A&M's bad on offense, but so is Ole Miss, and so is Vanderbilt, and so is TCU. And those teams got hot against LSU for stretches, and LSU was able to kind of smother them. And I thought LSU looked better, looked more connected, did not allow as many straight-line drives to lead to kickouts, which we've seen to get wide-open threes. Every game's a little bit different when you're talking about the three-point percentages for the other team. I thought in the Florida game, which was a few weeks back, Florida got a lot of open shots. They just missed them all. And so was that bad shooting? Was it good defense? It was probably bad shooting. This one last night I thought was good defense. I didn't think A&M got a lot of really good looks at the basket in the first half, and LSU was able to stretch it. Your thoughts on the first half before we get to the second?
Yeah. I thought A&M really made a conscientious effort in the first half to really start attacking. They were really trying to get to the basket, especially early on in that game. You saw them really try to get us in foul trouble a little bit, and then when that really stopped working, they were limited to try to shoot some perimeter shots. And I thought the defense was really playing at an all-time level. Coach Wade said it after the game. The rotations were just a lot better, really forcing guys to make that extra pass, and really they led to a lot of contested shots. And for me in the first half, it was killing me so much, just all the turnovers. Yep. That game could have just been way more out of hand than it was if you could have taken care of the ball just a little bit better. Some traveling stuff, just throwing the ball out of bounds. You get rid of that and get that number limited down. To say they won this game with 22 turnovers, it lets you know you're playing defense at a high level, especially in the first half. But for me, I thought they came out and had the effort and the energy that we wanted to see from this LSU basketball team. They didn't come out flat in this game. You saw that starting lineup that you kind of saw had that 15-1 start to the season. They came out locked in. They may not have taken care of the basketball, but they're giving the effort that you really want to see, and then they were attacking the offensive glass too. I think that really helped this team out as well.
The common criticism of the game last night is that LSU allowed 52 points in the second half, and they did. And you can look at that, and you would say the defense was terrible in the second half. Let me just get some stats in front of you as to what happened in the second half, and I think it tells the story pretty clearly. Sometimes numbers lie. I don't think these do, based on watching the game and seeing them. In the second half only, not for the game, in the second half, when LSU allowed 52 points, A&M shot 42% from the floor. That's not otherworldly. They shot 33% from three-point range. That's not amazing. They shot 63% from the foul line. That's not very good at all. And you gave up 52 points. Why? Why did you give up 52 points? That defense is pretty good. You gave up 52 points because in the second half alone, you turned the ball over 12 times. You only forced 5. You let them shoot the ball 36 times from the floor, 21 from 3, and 24 free throws. Way too many possessions for Texas A&M. I know numbers are tough on radio. Here's the comparison, though. In the first half, A&M shot 28 shots. In the second half, they shot 36. That's 8 more. In the first half, they shot 5 free throws. In the second half, they shot 24. That's 19 more. 8 more shots, 19 more free throws. Because you turned the ball over and you gave up second chance points. 60% of Texas A&M's points last night came off of turnovers or on second chance points. That is not bad defense. That's giving them the ball in live ball situations so they can go down and get a bucket, and it's not rebounding. Their first shot defense is fine. They gave up some open shots. It was more up and down. There was more of a frantic pace. But it was not they quit playing defense or the defense broke down. They turned the ball over 12 times and gave it to them. And a lot of them were just maddening.
Yeah. Some of them were just despicable turnovers. And we've seen this team turn the ball over before. And you luckily, you played so well in the first half. You really shut them down to hold that team to 16 points in the first half. Without that lead, it would have been like we've seen the past other SEC games. If LSU was down, there's no way you win that ball game. But the fact that you had the 20-point lead, you had the cushion that you needed, and sometimes you get a little lackadaisical on the other side, especially with the way Texas A&M was playing in the second half. Just a desperate brand of basketball, full court pressuring you the whole time, trying to trap you the way they were trying to trap you. You got those turnovers, and I know for Coach Wade's probably getting him pulling his hair out right now because that game could have slipped away. They got that game under double digits, and you were wondering if you're going to slip that one away. But Tari Easton just played so well. I think him being in attack mode the way he was in the second half, getting to the foul line, really being aggressive on the offensive glass and getting out second chance opportunities, that kept the lead the way it was. But that's something that they're going to have to get fixed. I think Xavier really, pushing the pace now that his legs are underneath him a little more. Yeah, he had some, some grand ideas or a couple passes that he probably shouldn't have made. But if he can cut those turnovers down, I think this team can start getting back to the brand of basketball that we saw, especially early on this season when you saw them beat Kentucky, you saw them beat Tennessee. But you definitely don't want to be turning the ball over like that because better teams are going to make you pay. And luckily, this A&M team is probably not one of the better teams in the SEC, and they really couldn't take full advantage of that.
Sometimes I wonder how Will Wade makes it through a film session. Some of the stuff they do is remarkable to me. And this is stuff that I was coached on in like 7th grade. So when I start going through some of these examples, don't say, well, he ought to coach him. And like, this is obvious stuff. Brandon Murray against a full court press in the second half. They're running and jumping. They're trapping. They're trying to get the ball. He dribbles right one step across half court and picks his dribble up. Well, now you can't go backwards, and they're going to trap you from the front. Turnover. Can't happen. Efton Reed catches the ball in the post. He does a great job. Catches it composed. The double team comes. He sees it. It's not a surprise to him. He's now identified the double team. He can look over it. He pivots, and then he goes to dribble. Mm-hmm. You are 7 feet tall. The ball takes an hour and a half to get from your hand to the ground, back up. The 6'1" guy's going to steal it, and he did. You can't do that. And X was trying to push the pace a little bit too much. He had 6 turnovers. There's some rust. He'll get over that. That has not been his MO here in the first 2 months of the season, is turning the ball over 6 times. Some, but not like that. But some of the stuff they do is just like, dude, don't do that. Like, it's so obvious. And that's what will frustrate you. As you mentioned, Eason was great. 25 points, 12 rebounds. The one mistake I thought he made, I wanted to break my remote control. LSU has an 8-point lead. They get a stop with like 3 minutes to go, and he goes flying down the floor trying to score coast to coast. And just calm down. We have the lead. We don't have to push the issue quite that much, but he played very, very well. And I think one of the things you're going to hear from this LSU team now, it's very Les Milesian with we were undefeated in regulation with the 2007 team because they lost 2 games in triple overtime. The mantra for this team is now, we're 15-0 with this starting lineup because Murray missed the Auburn game and Pinson's missed all the SEC losses. So that's the narrative they're going to carve out. I don't care what they say. That doesn't really matter. You still lost 6 conference games. But what does matter is that the guys care. They're playing hard. They're bought in, and they believe. And that's very important. You could see that starting to wane, and we had reason to doubt it because of Will Wade's press conference on Monday where he's talking about next year and saying maybe we'll figure it out this year, maybe we'll figure it out next year. Like, you start hearing that kind of stuff, and you're like, are they locked in for this? But it appears that they played hard last night. I know that A&M scored 52 points in the second half, and that looks terrible. But I did think the effort was pretty good.
Yeah, the effort was definitely good, especially in the first half. You saw guys really, and I think it kind of happens sometimes, especially if you ever played basketball before. You see some shots fall down, everything starts feeling good. Your defense is a little better, and we made some threes finally. You shoot 50% from the three-point line. I don't expect them to keep that up for the rest of this SEC slate. But when those outside shots start falling, you saw Murray hit some early, you saw Days hit some, you saw Eason hit a corner 3. It makes everything, start going better. And then the defense was playing at a high level, especially in that first half. And you saw them really just stay locked in and I think getting that rotation cut down. You didn't see you didn't see Fudge at all last night. You didn't see Sharif last night. He stuck with that 8-man rotation, and I think those are probably the guys you can trust for the rest of the season, where you're not stretching the bench like we saw in a lot of these other SEC games. So they're going to get their confidence back, I think, especially with this one. You got to build off of it. You got to, I'm sure Coach Wade is trying to get them to not turn the ball over. If you can play that brand of basketball, the defense will carry, and you'll get some of these guys more confident, and Pinson's going to get more healthy by the day. So I think if all those things start coming together, this can be the basketball team we thought it could be.
We'll see. I said on Monday I didn't think they're going to make the tournament. I'm not ready to back off that just yet. They're in a reasonable spot, but they got to win a lot of games against a lot of teams that are a lot better than Texas A&M, who stinks, by the way. They were really buying into that 4-0 start. They're awful, and they just don't have much talent.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.